All right, I promised some Bitcoin after lunch, and Bitcoin we are going to discuss. And we're going to talk about how affiliates can take advantage of Bitcoin gaming. We've got Adam, Eric, Gian, and Oron up here. And basically, like we had before with the previous panel, I'm inviting you all to ask questions at any point in time. Just raise your hand and go for it rather than holding the questions off until the end. It's okay to be interactive. Usually after lunch there are more questions, so I'm hoping that we'll have some. And I know it's a controversial topic. I know Gian was gonna fight Adam physically. He did promise us that, so we have that to look forward to. And it's because it's a topic that kind of divides people, but more than just Bitcoin, as Eric just said, I think we're going to talk about crypto in general, and I'd like to just start with kind of a state of Bitcoin regulation. So if anyone on the panel wants to give us just kind of a little overview of what's going on in the world of crypto, and in particular what's going on in the US regarding regulated exchanges.
I think I'll probably take that one. So again, I just wanted to thank Michael for putting this on, for iGaming Business for putting this whole show together. And they've really been supportive of the entire crypto ecosystem, I think, for, God, a few years now. So it's been really, really great to work with them and to really help get the message out and to, really educate an industry that's going to kickstart and where we're heading. So we look at the gaming industry specifically to really help with the adoption, because the market that has the most friction that we're trying to solve is right here in front of us. So if we can tackle this space, which we're doing, then I think that the mainstream adoption is just going to continue. So again, a lot of people have heard about Bitcoin. Yes, everybody here in this room owns Bitcoin, I hope. It's never been a better time to buy than now, so make sure you do some research if you want. I guess last year at this time we didn't have as many people in the room, so it's great to see the crowd's growing. The situation last year was quite surprising because not a lot of people were going to expect that Bitcoin was going to really get the attention that it did or go into the values that it did. I remember doing the social gaming conference last year, and Bitcoin was literally going up as we were talking, 20, 30, 40, 50 more dollars, 100 more dollars, and it was quite exciting. But with that obviously comes a lot of attention and a lot of other things that need to be sorted. So from a regulatory perspective, I've been taking it upon myself, representing GoCoin, which is a merchant payment processor, giving operators the ability to accept Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, etc. I'll explain that all later. But basically working with GoCoin and the regulators for various different jurisdictions and governments of those various jurisdictions to help them understand that this is more than just a play on Bitcoin, the actual currency. This is a play on a whole new technology and a whole new industry, which is just spawning innovation. Again, back in the mid-90s, operators and affiliates were the ones really spawning innovation. We really needed the technology and the internet to operate and to do what it was that we wanted, and that's to launch our online casinos, etc. Bitcoin and blockchain technology are really at the forefront of providing this industry the tools they need in which to grow into these other markets. And we'll talk about that more with the other panelists. So again, the jurisdictions, I think, are realizing that this is a much bigger play, and they're all very, very supportive, even though a few months ago they weren't. Everybody's drafting their mandates, and I think that we'll see probably in the next couple months operators getting full support of accepting crypto, and again, we're still dealing with the banks on that front, but everybody in this room has experience on that. So I think Isle of Man and UK have officially said, good to go, and then the other jurisdictions are still building their suggestions. And
Gian, maybe it's best to just kind of go down the line. Let's go to you. Why is, in your opinion, is Bitcoin great for iGaming?
Well, I think it's interesting because every time there's a new innovation in gaming, there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of excitement, maybe a little bit of trepidation, and certainly there's the need for people to understand a little bit more what's going on. We saw that happen with of course the financial products and even new products that came along like live casino got everybody excited for a while. This is a really, really good opportunity for affiliates right now, and even though it's early days and there's not necessarily a lot of money to be made by affiliates at this point, this is the time I think to start planting the seeds and start building the traffic portals up, getting your plan in place, because it's an inevitable future of gaming. Operators are of course always looking for new sources of traffic. They're always looking for new sources of revenue. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies happen to provide a very low cost, no chargeback, instant type of processing that is obviously very, very desirable. The issue right now with regulation is that, to me, as an industry, we've, for the most part, welcomed regulation over time. We've worked very hard over the last, 15, 17 years to get regulation in place that we're comfortable with, that works for players, that protects affiliates, that protects operators. And what's happening right now in the Bitcoin space, where we have a large number of operators that are operating without any kind of regulatory overview, to me, it's a bit of a step back in our industry. And so I think that this is something that needs to be addressed. And one of the concerns that I keep hearing about from the regulation side of things is the whole, the usual excuse for everything that they don't want to have happen, which is money laundering, terrorism, et cetera. But what's interesting about that is I can go down to my local Esso gas station down the road in Vancouver, and I can buy as much Ucash as I want and go and play on Stars or whatever I want to do with it. But yet there's nobody's asking me where I got that cash from, where I got that money from. So it's a bit of a red herring to say this is, one begets the other. I think, if you put in the proper regulatory rules, that becomes a non-issue. And the second thing is that from a Bitcoin user perspective, one of the attractiveness of cryptocurrencies has been this anonymity that many people find desirable. But and that's fine. You can be anonymous and pull a slot lever. But if you're going to play into a community game, especially something like poker, you're going to have to give up a bit of anonymity. And that's the other side of the coin, is we've got to be able to get the Bitcoin users, the cryptocurrency users, to understand that there's a bit of give and take here as well. If they want to come in and play on a regulated licensed site, they're going to have to give up maybe a little bit of that side of it in order to enjoy the same protections that everybody else has.
Oron, what I liked about Bitcoin 2 years ago with all the early adopters in the gaming space was that there were all these people that really were desperate to spend their Bitcoins that they either had mined or accumulated in some way anywhere they could, and there were very few places to do it. So these early adopters would go to places like Satoshi Dice and play ridiculous games for ridiculous amounts of money because they didn't really, I suppose they didn't really value the Bitcoin as much as the 1,200 or 1,200 pound price point that it eventually reached. But now, are we still in that kind of a situation? Is the benefit of being a Bitcoin casino, because there are people that are desperately looking for places to use Bitcoin, still a benefit, or has that market been saturated?
I don't think that the Bitcoiners, the Bitcoin holders, are looking for desperate to look for places to spend their Bitcoin. I think they're getting to know the gambling industry. They're getting to know the games, and the idea of doing something else with their Bitcoins. But this is only one side of the market. The most important side of the market and most interesting side of the market are the gamblers. Bitcoin casino players that need to be educated and need to trust the idea of blockchain and the idea of the Bitcoin for the games. So if it's easier for me to use a credit card or a Neteller or whatever to make a deposit, why shouldn't I use Bitcoin? The only problem at the moment is the market is just not mature enough. You cannot go outside today in London and buy your cup of coffee for Bitcoin yet, but it's coming. Some other places in the world, maybe like in Manila, for example, you can buy a coffee for Bitcoin, and this just shows that the Bitcoin goes into the mainstream. Once these casino players will adopt Bitcoin as a deposit and withdraw method, of course, with all the advantages that Gian just mentioned, it will go more into the industry and will help us all grow this industry.
So Adam, you're just launching a new project, which really focuses on Bitcoin for Forex, for binary, and for what else? For financial spread betting. Tell me why Bitcoin is particularly suited for that particular vertical.
I'm not sure if it's really Bitcoin per se, but all the different alt currencies. If you look at the volatility in them, it's really attractive for more of the financial bettor. So really what we're providing is a white label solution for anyone that wants to run a digital currency exchange. But we're targeting the Forex, binary, and spread betting operators to telling them that this is a great option for your traders. A lot of the Forex guys came to us, me and Eric, as we're doing a lot of these talks, and said, we really want to get in this industry, but there's nothing there for us. There's not a sophisticated platform that we would trust to market and promote. So, we went out and built that. And we built it in a way that it's really easy for an operator to come to us and say, okay, we want to do this, we want to operate it, but we don't want to worry about banking, we don't want to worry about payment processing, we don't want our license to be compromised. So we put together a platform that will allow them to do that. And the traders as well, a lot of the feedback we got was we don't want to, we don't want to buy Bitcoin in order to trade on this exchange over here. We don't want to. We won't have to calculate what our profit and loss is because I don't know what a Satoshi is worth. I just want to know what my dollar, in a fiat basis, what am I making or what am I losing today? So we made this look and feel just like any other trading environment and made it really easy for a trader to come deposit with a bank transfer, deposit with a credit card. We got phenomenal payment processing partners. We're just announcing a partnership with a new company called BitReserve, which will give our traders segregated player accounts. You'll be able to get a federally insured bank account and trade directly from it. So instead of having to load a trading account, load with a credit card, you could actually open a bank account and trade directly from your bank account, and it's federally insured.
Actually, that's really important, and I think probably people in the room not as familiar with cryptocurrency won't really understand why cryptocurrencies can do that. But could you talk about the cost per transaction and the speed of transaction and why, therefore, it's now possible to not trade out of a casino account, but to trade out of actually a proper bank account?
Yeah, so payment processing, besides the fraud issues, you have your, depending on how risky you are as a merchant, between 2 and 5% on the way in and 2 and 5% on the way out, and that's very expensive. And there's settlement times, so this is an affiliate room. If, let's say, brand X, you're an affiliate of brand X, you can get an account at that same bank and have instant daily payouts to you as an affiliate for free every day instantly, as long as you have an account at that same spot. There's no fee to the merchant, to the payment, or to the operator. There's no fee to us, who's facilitating that payment, and the affiliate gets their money right away. So it's a big plus for affiliates looking, especially affiliates doing PPC marketing. They can get their money in and out instantly. And they'll also be able to have a card. So if they want to do online payments with a Visa debit, they can.
And just to put a finer point on it, what we're saying is because of the infrastructure and the costs associated with the transaction in Bitcoin, and because that transaction is verified on the blockchain within a few minutes, there's no chargeback on that. So instead of costing 2.5% to Visa or MasterCard, or even if you got it down to the very bare minimum, maybe 0.5%, which is probably what it costs Visa and MasterCard once you had chargebacks and fees and handling into it, you could actually, you're actually now taking your money in and out of account instantaneously. So when you finish playing at the casino as a gambler, you can then request whatever money you were playing with right back into your own account, kind of eliminating any kind of risk of an absolute poker or an ultimate bet kind of disaster where all the money goes missing. So on this panel, are we really looking at Bitcoin as or cryptocurrency as a infrastructure replacement for Visa and MasterCard, as what you all see as its primary benefit to iGaming? Or to e-commerce in general, maybe?
Well, obviously, Bitcoin was designed to showcase this proof of work model, or to showcase how we can look at money differently, how we can interact with money differently, how we can change this real legacy issue that we've had, put in our brains for God knows how long, and it's really opened up the possibilities of what we can do with it. We've done a lot of analyzing over the past few years now, and granted, there's a lot of great things that you can do with Bitcoin blockchain specifically, and it's great. But you mentioned a very key thing, I think, just a little while ago, and that's speed. And everything around gaming and around whether it's online gambling or video games, for example, requires speed. Industry requires speed. Forex requires speed. High frequency trading, whatever it might be, requires speed. Visa, for example, does 40,000 transactions a second or something. It requires speed, and the Bitcoin blockchain can't support this because the actual confirmation times for these different blocks and the way that Bitcoin works, when the network gets busy, the confirmations aren't always instantaneously. So for mainstream adoption, even outside of the online gaming industry, it's not going to be the most ideal mechanism in which to use, because we can't just sit around waiting for an hour plus for these confirmations to be made on the block. So a lot of analyzing is come into play, and I think that you're going to see a birth of various different tokens and mechanisms that are going to be delivering the same attributes of Bitcoin, but in a much different model. And what I mean by that is, for example, a lot of you might have heard that there's other cryptocurrencies. I think there's about 500 additional cryptocurrencies or tokens, along those lines. So you have Litecoin or Dogecoin, for example. But now you have other different types of protocols and ways in which you can give players and operators even more advantages. And when I talk about turnkey blockchain type technologies and being able to give operators, whether they're small, medium, or large, the ability to just plug and play and create their own game or binary company or exchange on top of a different network, that's a lot easier for developers and operators to build on, you have a lot of extremely exciting things that can happen. Because Bitcoin itself to build on is very clunky. It's almost like operating with duct tape and PVC pipe. It's all just adding on, and it's not just built from the ground up with you in mind. So how do we build something from the ground up with everybody in mind, knowing what we know now? How do you go back 6 years and go, oh shit, well, how do we do Bitcoin again without all the nonsense, without all the friction? So that's what there's a lot of very interesting proof of consensus type protocols and different things that are going on within the space, not just Bitcoin, but other types of protocols in crypto environments that are really, really designed and built for payments in general, and for gaming in general, and for various other industries that will provide them the ability to actually implement a blockchain strategy and scale their industry. So whether that's Bitcoin or not, that remains to be seen, but we know the issues surrounding Bitcoin itself, and how are we going to do that again in a obviously compliant and regulated manner.
Oron, let me ask you, does the cryptocurrency, in your opinion, make a difference, whether it's a Dogecoin or a Bitcoin or something new? And does it matter what the value of that unit is? Does it matter if a Bitcoin's 200 or 500, or if a Litecoin's $1 or $2? Because clearly you could just transfer more of them.
I don't think the value of the Bitcoin have any effect on the immediate act of the player. If you want to deposit and play at the moment, I think it does have an effect on the idea or on the industry in general. Once the people, the gamer, see the Bitcoin value goes down, of course the trust goes down as well. When they hear news about hackers and about Silk Roads and so on, the amounts of transaction immediately goes down. Actually, when the price goes down, the amount of transaction goes high, generally. Still, the problem is the trust of the idea, because it's different, because it's complicated, because maybe it's more IT related. Maybe you need to understand how it works, or you want to understand how it works, and it's not like anything else that you used before. That's maybe the barrier that we need to break down for the players.
So looking back at the affiliate market a bit more, Jan, where does the affiliate make money in all this?
Okay, yeah. Let me just start by just addressing something Eric was just saying as well, because this ties into it. Especially for people that aren't really that familiar with the way that it works through the blockchain and this whole confirmation. But from a player perspective, if I go to a Bitcoin casino and I make a deposit, okay, so let's say I put in 1 Bitcoin. And I play, I win, I lose, it doesn't really matter, and I want to take that money out. There is a delay, and that delay is these confirmations that Eric mentioned, and those delays, depending on a bunch of factors, could take an hour, could take a couple of hours. In my experience, that's been as long as it's ever taken. When I go to withdraw, it's absolutely instant. So from a player perspective, it's a very, very positive experience. I've got usually a simpler registration. I've got the ability to instantly deposit, and I've got the ability to almost instantly withdraw once this blockchain confirmation has happened. And so again, as was mentioned, there's not necessarily the best for the operator, but there's less need or desire or likelihood to leave your money, your funds on a site for a longer period of time. From an affiliate's perspective, what's really cool about this is that as this becomes more mainstream and as people become more comfortable using it, there's the opportunity, obviously, to as was suggested, maybe get faster payments, but there's also the less likelihood of running into the whole chargeback issue, running into getting to the end of the month and not being really sure how much money you've made, because you know that the money in and money out is secure. It's a very interesting opportunity, and as an affiliate myself, I would be more than happy to be paid by Bitcoin, because I know that there's the facilities, at least in where I live, there's the facilities for me to instantly take that Bitcoin down the street and get cash given to me. There's ATMs around now. There's companies that specialize in that. So again, it's very easy for us to accept payments, to get those back into a fiat currency we want, or in what's happening in the market now, an increasing number of places where we can use that cryptocurrency to actually, cover some of our marketing costs, so we don't even have to go and exchange it anymore.
And that's the important one, is the loop.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So tell me, what's the reaction been to your affiliates in accepting Bitcoin for affiliate payments?
It's interesting because, in Barcelona, I talked to a lot of affiliates and a lot of affiliate managers, and even in the last 3 months, the degree of education has gone way up. It's really become mainstream, and I think that the original talk with affiliates, and certainly the first affiliates that have come into the casino that I'm representing, Miami Vice, has been the crypto affiliates have been the first ones to sign up, people that are already have portals and that have come in. But we're seeing more and more mainstream people like, latest casino bonuses and that are coming in and saying, here's an opportunity for me to maybe get a little bit of extra market share, because not everybody in this room at this conference is promoting a site or sites that take a cryptocurrency. So, again, this is another little mini gold rush and an opportunity for affiliates. So the ones that understand and see the opportunity, they're coming in, not a problem at all. And I think, again, everybody will be doing it soon. Why not?
And Adam, from the player side, I guess particularly, and I hate to just kind of peg you into a financial vertical, but particularly in a financial vertical, how receptive is the player to saying, I'm going to forget about my credit card. Let's go and exchange on a Bitcoin exchange, get Bitcoins, trade in Bitcoins, get paid out in Bitcoins, and then convert them back into real money at some point in the future?
So trying to get a traditional trader to convert to Bitcoin is very difficult, because the barriers to entry are very high. But if they already have Bitcoin, they love it. It's, from our experience, involved in a binary option brand. As soon as we started taking Bitcoin as a form of payment, all of the Bitcoin customers were worth 2 or 3 times more than a credit card customer will say. And if you're an affiliate and you're on a rev share deal, this is great for you because you're going to make a lot more money. From a trader perspective, they made their money trading, a lot of these guys. They made their money buying Bitcoin at a penny, and now it's worth $1,000. So they're geniuses in their own mind, and they're willing to go take this chance in more traditional markets or more other sort of financial betting markets. And they turn out to be very good clients. They will win, and they will hurt you for a little while, but as soon as they do that, they stick around. They stick around for a long time. The guys that hurt you in the beginning end up becoming your most profitable clients. So they're very good clients. If you're a brand and if you're an affiliate, they're very good for you because they'll make your brand very happy. So they'll pay you more.
Let me remind you, audience questions are kind of welcome at any time. Do we have any now? Yes, David in the back. Oh. The question is, have any operators passed on some of the savings you get from Bitcoin and then gone and offered it to the affiliates in additional affiliate revenue?
I would probably guess no. Most affiliates are looking for CPAs. So if they really do want to share in the increase in the value of those customers, they'll take a rev share.
I would say it further to that. I don't know of any gaming operators that have done that yet. But coming back to what I was saying about affiliate payments, if I have an affiliate that I'm going to pay in Bitcoin and they're not comfortable receiving it, I'd be more than happy to give them the fiat exchange rate and keep the Bitcoin myself. And I think that anybody that's comfortable with transacting business in a cryptocurrency that they're taking is probably should be or is open to doing the same thing. So that's a point of discussion. As far as whether we make more money and have a higher profit margin, really the big difference, of course, is in the processing and that small percentage of chargeback. It doesn't necessarily affect our profitability within the gaming environment itself.
Yeah, the amount of savings that would be passed down to the affiliate would be like 5% credit card processing fee, but then you'd translate that through what the player won and lost, and then you'd translate that then
It's still too expensive.
down to 20 or 30% of the affiliate revenue. So you're not really saving like a bunch. You might be able to have another 1 or 2% for the affiliate at the highest end.
It's still too
Yeah,
expensive.
you're better off to
to
just beat up
acquire.
your affiliate managers.
But even to buy the Bitcoin, that's why there's no, even for the operators to integrate or to acquire, or for the players to acquire, there's the savings is actual. I mean, we can talk all day long how we're going to be saving, for operators 8 or 9%, but at the end of the day, there's still a lot of friction there in which to provide the liquidity. So I think that the more adoption comes, the better that's going to be.
You guys asked about people that don't use Bitcoin and how likely are they to go through an exchange, buy it, go on the site, deposit Bitcoin in the account, gamble with it, cash out, convert to fiat. Said you're not seeing a lot of people who are doing that yet, and I understand why. Who is developing, or what are we looking at as far as third-party software developers that are maybe converting software that someone can go on, say, a gambling site that only accepts Bitcoin, but at checkout, they pay with a credit card, the third party processes it and changes it into Bitcoin. So the payment conversion is actually done through an exchange. It's not actually a part of the gambling site. So the gambling site's still not liable for regulation, stuff like that. And they're getting paid the Bitcoin, from the exchange, and then the fiat currency is going into, the third party exchange.
Actually, I know someone who wants to answer this in the back. David, you're gonna have a lot to say on that. He jumped right up. You didn't see him because he was behind you, but he jumped up so quickly you might have felt the wind rush. But he's ready to jump on that. Wait for the microphone. Wait for the microphone on this one because this is an important one. I was gonna ask that anyway, so I'm glad you did.
Well, if I can talk about another conference, there'll be a session on that on Tuesday at ICE.
Yeah, but that conference not as good. So do you want to address
Okay.
it quickly
No,
here?
it's a great question. I actually got up just to see who was asking it because I'd be glad to talk about it at length later. Basically the whole idea is that one of the problems in getting Bitcoin adopted by regulated gaming operators is that the regulators are very concerned about what the financial regulators are going to say. I think the idea that you split gaming concerns away from financial regulatory concerns is a great one whose time has come. We've been sitting here for like a year and a half trying to do it the other way. And I think to the extent that an operator can move away from being a financial provider and a bank and be a service provider for gaming services, I think they'll see a tremendous advantage. The problem for the regulated operators is that the unregulated sector will be doing that. They're going to put the finances entirely onto the blockchain. That's going to be, the blockchain will become the financial provider for gaming companies. If the regulated companies are going to be allowed to do that, that'll be great, but somebody's going to do it anyway within the next year or so.
It's a very, very good point. I mean, the blockchain will provide all the tools necessary for all these new gaming companies and operators to really innovate and create their platforms on. And that's part of kind of what I've been really focused on, because everything and anything related to moves or purchases or first-person shooter stuff or different directions you take or different things you might buy in social gaming or whatever can be recorded on the blockchain. And everything, when you can start recording every different aspect of the game on the blockchain, it's going to really start doing a lot of very cool things.
Adam?
Yeah, there are solutions out there to do exactly what you're talking about. And well, yeah, Bit Reserve's a little bit different. What they do is they allow you to hedge your cryptocurrencies against fiat, so you can move it in between the two instantly. This is if you already have either fiat with a Bit Reserve client. They don't do it themselves. They allow companies like us. They're just an API. Or if you have cryptocurrency and you want to move it into fiat through a third party. But to answer your question specifically, can you use your credit card to buy Bitcoin, deposit Bitcoin at sites? There are people doing it. There's a couple pretty good solutions. There's one in the room. I'm not sure if he's going to answer the question directly, but they don't. A lot of the guys that are doing it right now, they're using sort of hacks, or they're not really selling you Bitcoin. They're selling you an ability to get Bitcoin in the future, and they front you the Bitcoin. Until there's regulation, you won't see this everywhere, and you probably won't hear too many people talking about it either.
It's still different than a payment processing thing. Like, I'm just wondering, add a checkout to make things easier for players to come to a site that maybe they saw on a affiliate site or something like that. They clicked on it, were interested in the concept of the game, and then, they get there and they're like, only accepts Bitcoin, so then they leave, get a high bounce rate, and you're losing a lot of players that way. So I think for affiliates too, it's very important to try to, this is also like the development of Bitcoin. What we're all trying to, all Bitcoin enthusiasts are trying to think of easier ways for Bitcoin to be used and processed and all that stuff, so we can all use it more.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, there's one company that we work with, eGold International, for example. We take people's credit cards, their debit cards, and we sell real Bitcoin, not an option in the future. So we're actually transacting business for Bitcoin, and we'll certainly be doing that in the next week or two with eChecks as well, to provide even more security on both sides. It's an interesting point, of course. You go, okay, well, I can go to this Bitcoin-only casino, and I don't have Bitcoin, so why play here? Why not just go to a fiat one? And it's a valid question, but I think what's happening is that now that we see this growing group of Bitcoin sports books, poker sites, casinos, we're going to see that same kind of differentiation you see with the current casinos, where you're going to see special offers, promotions, et cetera, that might make those sites attractive enough to play at. And also, if you do have those concerns about getting your money back off the site in a timely fashion, et cetera, the Bitcoin casinos do have that added attraction. So there's more and more companies like eGold, like GoCoin, Bitcoin Paygate, people like that have come out that facilitate that on behalf of merchants. And I really think that, as David had suggested, that gives the operators maybe a little bit of a degree of separation. Let them concentrate on being the gaming service provider. Let the financial people handle the financial end of things. Let them be worried about the regulatory or licensing KYC issues, just like Skrill does or Visa does. And take it away from the operator, and make it easier for them. And obviously there's going to be a charge for that, but the charge can be and should be less than what you're paying for some of the other processing methods.
Yeah, the friction is obviously going to be from the fiat to the Bitcoin, from the Bitcoin to the fiat, but it's not really a gaming problem. It's more of a cryptocurrency problem and an adoption problem. And the question could have been 10 years ago, why would anyone want to use PayPal? I could just go use my credit card. It's the same idea. You have PayPal's a very convenient way to transact online. It's kind of a pain in the ass to go and get money into your PayPal account. But once you've done that, then you're more frictionlessly, transacting online. And I think the same thing's going to happen with cryptocurrency adoption. At a certain point, you're going to say, okay, well, I want to buy some stuff online. Let's attach a bank account or whatever to this cryptocurrency provider. And now all of a sudden, when I've gone through that little bit of friction, the rest of my life becomes much more easily managed. So I don't know if it's a gaming problem to solve. It's probably not. It's probably a mass market and other stuff I buy online problem to solve. That just generally gets better as the mass market adopts.
Yeah, I was going to just follow up on that and say, I'm living in Canada, and I can't use Skrill, I can't use NetTeller, I can't use my credit cards. So my options are limited to, again, going down to the ESO and grabbing my UCash, which the operators are going to pay 7 or 8% on, or I can just go and grab some Bitcoin and play instantly and not have to go anywhere, not have to leave my desk, not have to do anything, and still get 100% deposit bonuses and all the bells and whistles that we enjoy with the fiat one. But in markets like Canada, a lot of Asian markets in that where cryptocurrencies are quite well established, becoming more established, it gives operators and affiliates opportunities to move into markets where traditional payment processing might have been more difficult. And that, again, is a really, really good opportunity for the people in the room here.
So on the basis of that, what's your common demographics of a typical person that's using Bitcoin right now?
I mean, I guess you could say, the tech, entrepreneur or the video gamer. I mean, 18 to 40 is probably our main target, especially with who we're targeting. We're very focused on, the online gaming industry, but you have other different markets who are now that are getting very active on the social side for, 11 to 18-year-olds, especially in mobile and everything else for social, different things that they're doing. So it really depends on the market you're talking about.
It's a funny question. I mean, the first obvious answer, which will go beyond, is that we're pseudonymous currency, so who knows? But you could start to target what type of groups might like your product. And then the answer just comes down to traditional marketing. What type of groups might like my product? Or where can my product solve problems? So you mentioned Asia before. Now, China is transacting a large majority of the Bitcoin transactions now are out of China. Does anyone have the latest numbers as to how much is being transacted from China as a percentage?
I think it's definitely around 40+%.
More than 40%? I thought it was even higher, but
Yeah, I think it could be around 70%. I mean, they're doing all the mining right now.
So a good example of that, a good way to answer that is when you're mining, you have to have the most up-to-date equipment, and 95% of the most up-to-date equipment goes to China. So that gives you a pretty good example.
And you have to have cheap electricity, and they have cheap electricity, and you have cheap labor, and it's a good place to mine. But besides that, it's a hard currency to use anywhere else, and you want to buy stuff outside of China. And you want to secure the money that you've earned as a Chinese person from anything that might happen politically or to your local currency, to your renminbi. And a really good way to do that is to get it into Bitcoin. You could buy stuff from around the world. You could keep it in a currency that might be more stable than a renminbi. And then you actually start to solve really specific problems with the Bitcoin. So, but as a gaming operator, when you take all of that into account and say, God, you know what? Chinese people really like to gamble. I really would like some Chinese people gambling on my site. I find it really hard to take China Pay. It's really hard to get money in and out of that country. I wonder what could solve that. Well, I think the obvious answer is, the Bitcoin's a really good solution for that because it is very, very widely used in China in particular. Yes, go ahead.
One more thing too. I think you guys no one's really mentioned so far the fact that, but the beauty about Bitcoin is just that's decentralized and deregulated. So a lot of people here, a lot of the customers that these casinos have are big players, big spenders, and also can earn a lot of money. So the reason to use Bitcoin of this is, of course, if you cash out, if you cash out tens of thousands or millions of dollars using Bitcoin, you're really free to do what you want, and that's your money. You keep 100% of it. If you are from most countries and you're using a credit card, you cash out in fiat currency, you're going to be taxed on that. It's traceable. And, it's just, that's probably one of the largest reasons anyone who's serious about gambling would want to use Bitcoin, because once it's your money, you can do what you want with it. If you want to cash out in a fiat currency, you maybe try to follow regulation like we're doing in the States with treating it as an asset or whatever, but even then you have a lot of benefits. So I think that's probably the biggest reason that, or one of the main reasons.
It's generally a better solution. You're absolutely right on. It's generally a better solution for people that do stuff online on an international basis where things are transacted, instantaneously around the world. It actually works really, really well for that. And that's what's going to drive it forward. Now, I think Eric had a good point where perhaps Bitcoin, perhaps just the fundamental nature of Bitcoin means that it might not be able to transact it might not be able to take all the world's credit card traffic, but it doesn't mean that, the concept's not right. And the funny thing about Bitcoin is, well, no one really owns it. It's essential. No one really cares that we're going to switch to something else either. I suppose once you get into the mindset that what I'm doing with this Bitcoin is not keeping it until it goes back to $2,000. What I'm doing with this Bitcoin is using it to transact and buy stuff. So as I think, and my economics degree only goes to a master's, where we usually get PhDs up here to talk about this. But as the world goes mainstream and goes Bitcoin, and it actually is used to transact rather than mine and speculate on, the price should stabilize enough. So I don't care if I take that $100 per Bitcoin and change it into 100 Litecoins at $1 each. It really doesn't make a difference what the unit value is, because I'm actually using it for something functional. Does anyone have any comments on that or different points of
just
view?
a general comment about, we're talking about the advantages of Bitcoin for the gaming industry. Let's talk about the advantages of the gaming industry for the Bitcoin. Let's say that you have a Bitcoin, you keep it in your wallet, and you want to wait until it's going to be worth $2,000 somewhere in the future. This is actually wrong. The idea is to use the Bitcoin. Once we all use Bitcoin in our daily life, it's going to help the Bitcoin idea and the blockchain to get better, and of course the value will go up. And this is maybe one of the advantages of the gaming industry, because you cannot compare any coffee shop which take Bitcoin to a Chinese casino which accept Bitcoins. So once the gaming industry will use Bitcoin more, and more Bitcoin casinos will be out there, more transaction will go on the blockchain, and more popularity the Bitcoin will gain.
And you know what's interesting about the conversation? We keep bringing up the coffee shop, that it's not. If we were at a coffee shop convention, would still be having this panel, telling why coffee shops why they might want to use Bitcoin. It's this. There are certain advantages specifically for us because we work in a very highly regulated industry where we deal with countries that. Two things. We're in a highly regulated industry, and we're an industry where the product is purchased, instantly consumed, and payouts are instantly sent back. Which makes us somewhat different than coffee, because we could separate a Starbucks in China from a Starbucks in the UK. But yes, there might be a slightly more advantage for us, but that doesn't mean that Bitcoin's advantages are not pervasive. And it's not necessarily on iGaming or on our surrounding industries to propagate Bitcoin. I think that's going to happen by the very nature of it being a better method of transaction than, say, a PayPal.
It's interesting too. It's really a kind of a much purer economic model than a lot of currencies are out there. We don't have the Fed just going out and printing, another couple of $1 billion to, or manipulating interest rates. This is a true decentralized, supply and demand type of model that is supported by the industry. And Oron's point is quite valid as we see more adoption of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in the market, and of course higher transactional volume, it will help stabilize the price, it'll help drive the price up. Even though there's new Bitcoins being mined, there's still, a set number of Bitcoins out there, on a day-to-day basis. And, as soon as you have a supply and demand issue where you're not printing, just off the cuff a bunch more, then the value inevitably is going to go up, and vice versa. The recent drop in Bitcoin, there's lots of different people will tell you what it's attributed to, but what's interesting is that, it does seem to have found a plateau. It's starting to work its way back up. It's still pretty volatile, but the volatility now, is what we see for volatility now is we won't see that in a couple of years, I don't think. I think that we might see that with other coins that come out as they find their niche and their stabilization, but Bitcoin will just continue to become a more and more, a product that more and more people are comfortable with.
And what the funny thing about it is, for mainstream adoption, you hit the nail right on the head. It's not about the value of the Bitcoin. That doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's about the volatility of the Bitcoin. And stable currency is a good currency to transact online because the nominal value doesn't really make a difference. So I think you've pretty much hit it right on the head there. We have a guy speaking at the iGaming Super Show. He's a New York Times double New York Times bestseller, James Rickard. You could find him on YouTube. He's absolutely insane. He's a complete whack job, and he's talking about the global financial meltdown and how all of the currencies in the world right now are just artificially inflated. And like you say, a Bitcoin's like $1, but you don't know 1 trillion of them to China. And essentially, he's going to come and he's going to talk about cryptocurrency and how a more pure and simple economic regime is going to be what he thinks is necessary to take over kind of a regime built around central banks issuing money not backed by any particular asset. So yeah, you'll have to wait to the iGaming Super Show in Amsterdam for that, though. Some more audience questions? Okay, then I guess the final question is, how do I become a Bitcoin affiliate? What do I need to do first? Do I need to change anything about my site? What do I have to do?
Well, from our perspective as an operator, you don't have to do anything different than what you're doing right now, register. I think that as an affiliate, obviously you've got to start looking at where you're going to get that traffic from. It's certainly not yet a mainstream product where you're going to do exactly the same, marketing that you might do right now and expect to get the same results. But what you do have is you have an opportunity to go into some niches. You have some opportunity to do some PPC and some work like that potentially at a lower cost and start finding some of that traffic. And more importantly, as I said at the beginning, this is the time to start staking out your territory, looking at ways that you can create a community, whether it's an information portal, whether it's a forum type, whether it's a listing, a directory listing. There's some very good ones out there. Oron's got a couple of them he's running. But it's a big market out there. So I think that, as an operator, the process is the same to sign up as an affiliate. The payments are essentially the same. The revenue share is essentially the same. So it's not a big transition to get into Bitcoin.
I think we are talking to affiliates, and the main thing to take away from this is you don't have the competition that you'll have. You'll have operators that are looking for you. You have a group of individuals that are used to gambling. They have means to gamble, and they're more valuable than the average gambler, the average trader. And you don't have the competition from the other affiliates. So, like you were saying, you can start to stake out your niche right now. And as more and more companies like us, like SoftSwiss, start to push out tons and tons of operators, you will be the first and you will be the more dominant of the affiliates. So now it's the time to sort of make yourself the most dominant affiliates in the gambling industry for digital currencies.
And let's say I'm in this crowd, I'm listening, I want to do it. I don't want to get involved in Bitcoin. I'm still not convinced on it as a currency. I just somehow I don't want to educate myself enough to even bother. So can I be a Bitcoin affiliate and get paid out in fiat?
Of course. I mean, do a deal with GoCoin. Do a deal with BitPay if you really need to. There's us. We pay out however you would like to get paid out. If you'd like to get paid out in Bitcoin, you get paid out in Bitcoin. If you want fiat, you get fiat. You don't need to take the Bitcoin. And if you do have to, if you get forced to take the Bitcoin, just set up a local Bitcoins account, sell it right away, and get the cash into your account right away. You don't need to hold it.
Oh, fiat's not a word that most people in the normal, not crazy, super nerd world of Bitcoin come across. Fiat currency is just like regular money, like dollars and pounds and stuff like that. It's like money. Money. Anyway, you paid out in any way. I want non-sequential, unmarked bills.
Just a note for the different type of affiliate here in the crowd. For you to know, there are more than 600 Bitcoin-only brands online working at the moment. Around one quarter of them is a casino only. 1/3 is sports booking, and the rest poker, dice, lottery, binary options. They're all out there, and they're all seeking for traffic.
And my prediction is that in 5 years when you're here, every casino that's here will allow Bitcoin to be paid in, provided that their local regulator allows them to do that, provided that they care about being locally regulated. Any final comments from the panel? In that case, a big round of applause. Thank you very much, guys.